Number 5. We're getting there, Laura. Promise. Arrest in one's home. This is another one. You had asked me about this, about somebody being arrested. Payne versus New York, as you remember, says that if you're going to arrest somebody in a home, you got to have an arrest warrant. Okay? Absent exigent circumstances, chasing him into a house, you got to have a warrant. This is a knock and peek case out of the 11th Circuit. This is a great case. The police come to the guy's door and, yes? Are you, Billy Joe Bob? Yes. Click. All right? What the 11th Circuit says is that Payton, that's a threshold. And they cite Kylo, the looking through the wall case with the technological device, and they say Payton establishes a bright line rule that any physical invasion of the structure of the home by even a fraction of an inch is too much. I mean, some of this shit's kind of good. And by the way, that's a direct quote from Kylo. Who would have thought that? Yeah.
Do you know if that includes police helicopters that use thermal imaging?
Well, that'll go under Kylo, and thermal imaging is what Kylo was dealing with. And they did say that thermal imaging was a search. What worries me about Kylo is, and it was written by Chief Justice Rehnquist, is that they talk about it because it's not readily fucking available. Well, this thing wasn't readily available 2 years ago. 10 years they're going to be able to go to fucking Radio Shack and get whatever that shit they want to look into our homes. Is our privacy subject to how sophisticated and cheap all this shit gets? That, the only hope we got is that they'll understand that the technology advances today ought to provide us with more protection of our rights of privacy under the 4th Amendment, not less. Number 4, coming along. 9/11. I'm sorry, I'm going to bore you with this again. I know everybody's seen it 100 times, but I like it, okay? If you didn't feel like going out and ripping somebody a new asshole when you saw those buildings coming down, you don't deserve the freedoms we've got. But if you think for a minute, giving up and throwing away our rights and freedoms is any way to preserve and protect them, you've got another thing coming as well. This was, by the way, Ashcroft's first act. Who would have thought he'd end up our hero, over the NSA extension. But first thing he does is authorizes and by the way, most of our clients, start serving their sentence at the time of arrest, not after conviction or sentence. No, said the Queen, first the punishment, then we'll get around to the verdict. But what happens here is that they're able to listen and eavesdrop on your conversations with your client, whether in any Bureau of Prisons facility, including detention facility. Well, come on. How do you see most of your clients? Either on the telephone or in the attorney-client room, because they're being detained. That constitutes a chilling effect, whether they use it in criminal prosecutions or not. The USA Patriot Act was passed almost a month after 9/11, barely over a month. Passed in the Senate 98-1. Sole holdout was who? Feingold. He said, "Look, I'm not against it. I just like to read it before I sign." Okay, 346 pages. Nobody even had a copy of it. So remember the anthrax scare, they weren't even in their chamber.